Welcome to The Culture. We rest at the pulse of the community, providing all things news, media, fashion, events, and everything that we talk about in between. Documenting our Black powerful history and amplifying our Black voices, one interview at a time. We are The Culture.
Yes, we are. We are The Culture. Welcome, Senator Bullard.
Hey, good afternoon. How we doing?
Oh, we are doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I can best describe it as a election night hangover, not from drinking, but from just putting in the work.
Listen, everybody who had an assignment understood said assignment and completed the assignment. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. So you did early voting, so you didn't experience yesterday. But see, this is why we make a great team, because you have to experience early so that you can talk about that.
Yeah.
And then I do day of or souls to the poll Sunday, so I can recap that one for you. So I voted yesterday.
Okay.
And they gave me the wrong ballot.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. And I knew it was the wrong ballot because after I got in my booth, I remember who's supposed to be on this, my ballot, because I've looked at my sample ballot.
Right.
And the names, Tim
Didn't
Scott. What? Tim shouldn't be on my ballot.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Looked at the top, looked real good. Now I really have to look. And I'm going, this is not my ballot. So I turn around and Harper's in tow. And first of all, she's like, I'm ready to go to school, mommy.
Right.
Why do you have me here? I understand it's very early, but I'm ready to go to school. This is not where
What is happening?
This is not it. However, I turn around and I'm like, this is the wrong ballot. And so the man is looking at me like I'm crazy. And I said, this is not the right ballot. So now I'm showing it to him. He pulls my slip that I signed to prove that it was me, that said the precinct, my party, all of the things. Now he's comparing it to the ballot that he gave me.
Right.
And I'm going, we're going to have to rush this because Harper is already upset that I'm in here. And now you're playing games, acting as if you don't know that you gave me the wrong ballot. You know you gave me the wrong ballot, sir. So he's still looking at it. Another woman comes over because at this point, I'm sorry, I skipped this part. Roy is there. And I yell across the precinct, honey, did they give you the wrong ballot too? Because they gave me the wrong ballot. So now everybody is looking. Wow. But I needed it to be a little seen a little bit because I was going, I'm going to have to step outside and make a few phone calls if you don't get it right and quickly. So the lady, because at this point I'm thinking you're doing it intentionally. And who else did you do this to? Who else are you giving them the wrong ballot? But this is why this show is so important. All of the advocacy, all of the grassroots work, all of the text messages, all of the phone calls, the phone banking, everyone has a role to play in the election, in the education standpoint, because things happen. Yes. Things happen, and you need to know what should not happen.
100%. What you're talking about is, and what I love about this is you made a plan to vote. You pulled up your sample ballot, you saw it, you compared it. So when you went in, you weren't duped by the mistake that they made. And so, that is a common theme that happens. Just a reminder for folks, if you find yourself in a similar situation and you can't self-advocate like you did, that there is an election protection line, 866 our vote. We'll put you in contact with some lawyers if you ever find yourself in that situation. But it's so funny you bring that up, because early that morning I decided to go with Florida Rising. I work for them, and we went out to different polling locations just to kind of champion our folks, handle information. And I even had to report to them. I said, it is so fascinating how many people were walking in. And I just happened to be at the West Kendall Library, which was an early voting location. And people were walking in and coming back out saying, this isn't my polling location.
This isn't?
This is not. And so the challenge was, you had a lot of people who woke up on Tuesday thinking they could go to an early voting site instead of their polling location, right?
I met some of those people.
And so that is the thing that you always have to remind folks, is like, you get this 2 weeks of early voting in Miami-Dade County, which is actually more than any other county in the state. And you're sitting there saying, go do it, because you can go to any of those 23 locations anywhere in the county and vote, regardless of what your precinct is. But that Tuesday, if you decide to vote on election day, whether it's that little church house, whether it's the school, whether it's the library, you have to be very, very specific, because you have to vote at your precinct on election Tuesday. And so with the magnitude of this November election, we're less than 80 days away, 11 weeks. I need, like, the importance of what you experienced is so important to make sure people understand, to not fall into that, because you get that 2 weeks. If you want to early vote, or more importantly, your ballots are going to be dropping about 2 weeks in October. So people have to sit with those candidates, check it out, and make sure you're ready, because I'm glad you were able to handle your business. Even though anyone who watches the show knows you're going to handle your business.
I'm glad it happened to me, because on my story, I went and alerted people, like, pay attention to these things. So, of course, now moving forward, that's going to be my thing about the ballot, and ensuring that you have the right party at the top and the right precinct and your name is accurate. And I had friends tell me, oh, we'll meet at the polling location. No, we won't. No.
You don't live by me.
No. We're not neighbors. We can't meet to vote. Like, no, you have to go where your polling location is. We can't meet to vote. That opportunity is out of the window. So that too happened to me. And I can't imagine what would have happened if they waited for that day to go to wherever they thought the early voting location was, and they would have encountered the same thing that happened with you. And so another reason why I went early was because I wanted to allow for there to be a window of time in case anything were to go wrong. I would be able to have the rest of the day to make it right. So while I'm driving Dallas to school that morning, there was a police officer that got behind me. I was like, no, you can't pull me over today. I can't go to jail. I can't do that today because I have to go vote. And if I get in jail, then I have to wait. And this Aquarian mind is doing all of these things, all of the things, because I was like, I've got to get to my polling station so that I can vote, my polling location so I can vote. So I also, did you hear about this? The website of which I always check for the primary election for the supervisor of elections went down.
Don't get me to talking about that. So not only and I give credit to Miami-Dade, they handled their issues quickly, but most of the 67 county supervisor elections websites went down yesterday. And this is, again, one of those things that because I'm in this work, I'm accustomed to. You'll always have shutdowns of whenever you're trying to register to vote. If there's a flood of folks on the last day to register, you're always going to get lag or shut down. But yesterday, and the news is reporting that one county website caused a domino effect and ended up crippling most of the websites for most of the counties in the state. Luckily, it did not impact the voting process itself, but it impacted the ability to get the information.
Mm-hmm.
So if you needed to track your ballot, if you needed to, see if, your vote counted, people were concerned because, and it didn't fix itself till about 8:30, 9 o'clock last night when they finally started working again. But these are those kinds of things why, people are like, why do you keep beating this drum about, voting and voting early and making a plan to vote? It's for this reason. It's
right.
You wait till the last second, you wait till the last minute. We had a bunch of rain yesterday.
Yes.
So that was, that always is going to tamper down on people voting because people find for some reason an excuse to not vote. And so all it takes is a little thunder, traffic held up, all these things. And so take advantage of the opportunities that you have.
Yes. So the website went down, it's back up now. I have it up because I want us to get into these races.
Yes.
Shall we? So it starts with the senator race.
Yes.
Where Rick Scott, he blew his competition out of the water to go on and move to the general election November the 5th, where he will be running against and meet. I feel like they've met before in a race.
Well, Debbie Merkelso-Powell was a member of Congress, actually represented South Dade from 2018 to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And lost her re-election bid then, but she was the overwhelming winner in the Democratic space against Stanley Campbell, who is, for those who may or may not have known, as Uncle Luke's older brother.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he's going to be out, or you think he may come back for something else?
Who knows? He's had a long career in federal government, worked for NASA, has a military background.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about that.
Yeah, so who's to say what his future holds? He's a, older gentleman. He's not to say that, as we know, don't hold you back. But if you, after a long career, maybe you want to, you took your shot, maybe you want to sit down. We'll see. The next Senate run won't be up until 2028. When Marco Rubio is up for re-election again. So we'll see what the next 4 years hold.
So District 27, Congress, you have Maria Salazar, who will be facing
Lucia Baez-Geller.
Yes.
For those who know Lucia, she is on the school board now. Well, as of now, she's the Democratic nominee for Congress, but served the school board for District 3 for the last 4 years. And so, I've known her for quite some time. She's a teacher, has a teaching background, again, served the school board. And I think will be a formidable challenger to Miss Salazar, who's only been in Congress herself for a couple of years. So.
I'm going to jump to the sheriff's race. Now, on the Republican side, they had about 12 different people. No one even got to 30% of the vote. What happens with that? Is there now another runoff?
No runoff for that one. For that race, it's a, not to get too deep into the weeds, but we as voters changed the Constitution back in 2018 that required that 5 different offices at every county level were going to be elected, but that they were also going to be partisan. So when that happened, those races now became what is called winner take all. So no matter how much you get, whoever gets the majority ends up being victorious. And so even with, I think she got 26% of the vote.
Oh, Rosanna?
Yeah, Rosie.
She got 24.48.
Well, there you have it. So
she's representing that side, and she will run against James
Reyes, yes, who is the current director of public safety for the county, supported by the mayor. I'm sure we'll talk about her later.
Yeah, but, we haven't got there yet.
But just, it's going to be an interesting race because the Republican candidate, in this case, was endorsed by Donald Trump. She put that on all her posters.
Okay.
She's very proud of that. And then you have Mr. Reyes, who's currently doing the job now, and would ultimately like to continue to do the job as the Democratic nominee. So
we'll see them on our ballot in November the 5th, or early voting. I'm going to jump down to the state representative district 109, where Ashley Gant was able to go on ahead and bring it home.
Absolutely. Friend of politics for the culture.
Yes.
Your soror.
Yes.
Hopefully a good indicator that the AKAs are going to be victorious later on down the line, because, I cover statewide for my work. And AKAs won up and down the ballot.
Up and down.
So up and down, from Jacksonville to Orlando, even into Miami. It felt like a good sweep by the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So
love it.
Hopefully that is a good indicator for November, when there's another big AKA on the ballot.
Yes, and we're going to come to her as well. Wow, I cannot see. Well, maybe there is no Republican challenger in this, because I don't see. No, not that seat. It was the next one that I wanted to bring up. Was the supervisor of elections. Yeah.
So there is a Republican.
I didn't see that
in that race. It's I think there was no election.
Oh, there wasn't an election because she moved into the general vote. Okay. Yeah.
She's the only Republican running.
Yes.
But Juan Carlos Planas won the Democratic nomination.
Yes.
For that, against Willis Howard and Mr. I believe Wiseman.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say Andre 3000, but it is actually Arnold Arnie Benjamin Wise. Yes.
So I had a chance to meet Mr. Wise and Mr. Planas at a forum in Richmond Heights this past week.
Okay.
So I've known JC for quite some time. He actually served in the Florida House with my parents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, he's been an elections lawyer for as long as I've known him. So I think a person to think about for that seat is somebody who knows about the laws related to elections and stuff.
Right. That would help. It makes me think about I'm trying to remember her name. The resume that was read yesterday, but I'm trying not to go to the DNC. Gotcha. I'm going to come back to that.
You're talking about Jasmine Crockett out here.
Don't do it.
I'm not going to take us there, but I'm just letting. I just wanted to help you.
We talk about Jasmine, Texas. So District 3,
Yes.
we had Hardeman, who was running for re-election,
Yes.
and then we had Edmondson, who came back to run for her seat because she was termed out, and Hardeman took it. I want to say the job that he did with getting those constituents out was just superb. He did an excellent job convincing everyone that that was his seat.
Indeed, overwhelming victory for Commissioner Hardeman. He returns back to the county commission, but I also want to remind folks that the county commission in Miami-Dade now has term limits. So folks like he, Commissioner McGee, Commissioner Gilbert, who are both elected without opposition, they're going back. But 4 years later, we're going to be looking for new folks, new blood. So just for anyone kind of sitting out there thinking, all right, what am I doing next? You know, long gone are the days of folks being in these positions.
Career politicians.
For 30 years. So, yeah, I definitely want to remind folks who are watching, thinking about jumping into elected office, that there are going to be opportunities in the coming years.
Yes. And speaking of such, Cohen Higgins got her seat because Kava pulled out to go to run for mayor,
Right.
which takes us to this next race, the mayor's race, and she also had a convincing win.
Absolutely. And the thing that makes it even more convincing is that she got almost 60% of the vote, and had 7 different opponents.
Yes.
Which is, a mighty victory, because when you have that many people in the race, you're always concerned about whether or not they're going to, pull votes away from you. But her victory was convincing.
Yes. Let's see. Santos won. That wasn't surprising to me. Let's see who. Oh, let's go to Miami Gardens. Rodney Harris won against Iguodar and Deer. Is it Deer? Is that how you pronounce her last name? Laverne?
Oh, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So he also almost 70%. So that's another one that was a great victory. Then you also had Katrina Baskin won over 50%, and Michelle Powell. I was looking at this race as well. She won with over 60%.
Yeah.
And she beat the incumbent.
Yeah, I was about to say the city council up in Miami Gardens is going to look a little bit different than it has. A couple of Shannon Campbell, who was an incumbent, did not win her re-election, and neither did
her husband. Okay, I'm sorry.
And neither did Councilwoman Iguodaro. So you're looking at kind of new faces on the council up there in Miami Gardens, even though Mayor Harris did retain his seat. Right. Against former Councilman Iguodaro.
Oh yes, and then Linda Julian was able to retain her seat as well. Yes, congratulations. I'm looking to see if there were any other. Oh, we had the ballot questions about the Metro Rail, and then that one went over. Everyone said yes. But let's now shift a little bit and let's talk about the DNC.
Okay.
So on day one, from what I understood, because of the protests on the outside, it closed down all of the entrances to only one entrance. So you're talking about thousands of people who have to go through that one entrance. I didn't recognize the delay last night in day 2, but it was clear on day 1. And another surprise for me, and I understood it really was a surprise, was that the nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, did come out, and she was able to greet everyone.
Yeah, which was a surprise. Normally the nominee waits until their acceptance speech, or you might see them make a brief appearance. But she actually came out and greeted the folks from the main stage, which kind of set the stage for a number of new surprises and new elements to the DNC that I'm sure we're going to talk about a little bit, especially, your former state of Georgia was out here showing out last night, as we know.
They show out, but wait, let's stay on day 1 first.
Yeah.
Now, here was another. I guess it was a surprise to me. Now, when Jesse Jackson was brought onto the stage and the loud standing ovation that he received last night, talk about giving someone their due, their flowers, that moment. I would love to know that he encapsulated that and took that in his heart home, to know how appreciated he is and all of the things that he's been able to do, because of course he ran for president, and he's been continuing to try to press the agenda, and for not just doing right, but doing right because it is the right thing to do.
100%. I mean, for those who know the history of Jesse Jackson, he really set the stage. I mean, all credit due to Shirley Chisholm for making that statement in 72. But when Jesse Jackson decided to run in 84, and that marked the 40th anniversary of his 84 run, that really sent shockwaves through that DNC, through that moment, because you're talking about someone who had established credibility, was well known, and actually won some of those primaries unexpectedly in 1984, and then doubled or tripled those wins in 88 when he ran again. So he deserved all the standing ovations, all the applause. And the reality is we're losing our civil rights icons left and right. And I know Reverend Jackson hasn't been feeling well, so it was good to see him physically able to receive those flowers in Chicago, which is where he's from,
right?
And very much deserved.
Yes, and the other person who received a round of applause, standing ovation, I think it went on for like at least 3 minutes. Miss Bob herself, because that was what the internet was talking about, her bob.
That hair, absolutely.
Yes, her hair. But Hillary Rodham Clinton had the folks stirred up on that first night.
She did. But I also got to give credit to Senator Warnock, because you talked about what kind of caused the delay. A lot of the conversation from the first night was everybody running over their time. So all the speakers decided, oh, you're going to give me 5, I'm going to take 10. You're going to give me 10, I'm going to take 20.
Right.
But Senator Warnock, for those who know, is the senior pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, famous because, of course, that was Dr. King's church in Atlanta. And so I guess the Spirit moved him in that moment. So he decided to take folks to church. But equally inspired was, Secretary Clinton, who got up there. And, of course, Black Twitter got real active over that bob. They said that hair was something something spectacular. So,
and then I'm wondering, what generation of folk were talking about that? Because I can't imagine that being Generation X, just because there was nothing about her hair that was substantial to me. She just looked regular. She just looked like her regular self.
you know, I mean, you know, I love to go down the rabbit hole of Black Twitter when it happens. And I think it was just the mere fact that it was like, you know, if you've ever been on stage and you've been on stage before, spotlights, hot, you know, the reason they say make your comments quick is because you don't want to sweat your due out. And, you know, she gave a keynote address and that hair was Jimmy Johnson.
Bobby, pull it back up. Pull it back up, Bobby.
That hair was established. You know?
Yes. Yes.
So the bob wasn't going nowhere. It didn't move out of place. She didn't lose any strands, even though she was very, you know, she had a lot of movement with her speech as well. So a lot of talking with her hands, a lot of body movement, which might have thrown other folks off, but she said, not today.
And she was giving me the Aquanet vibe. She had the Aquanet in that. Yeah. So when I opened up social media and all I kept seeing was Bob. I'm like, Hillary called Bob. Who is Bob? I'm like, how did I miss that? And I watched the whole thing. Right. What are we talking about? Who is Bob? Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. What I love about the internet is it is a very unserious place. It can also be a very vicious and mean place. But when it just wants to give you a couple of chuckles,
yes,
you know,
yes, lighten it up. And then the night they won, we had our president who closed everything out.
Absolutely.
And he, what time did he come off?
Well, listen, it had to be close to midnight Eastern Standard Time. But they had him up there, and I guess I get that he was the last speaker for the night. You know, wanted to close it out.
Look at how bad it's raining.
Listen, I'm right. I get it. Welcome to South Florida.
I'm just glad we're still on the air and that the internet didn't go out. But yeah.
But he
coming down.
He definitely did his thing. And applause to him for doing his thing. I mean, you know, like we're in this very historical moment because he decided to step aside and give way for Kamala Harris. So, you know, he deserved a little time to shine like on that first night, and you know, flowers were deserved as well.
They were, and now we rush into night 2, Georgia. The roll call. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! When Lil Jon came down the stairs. Now, wait, Bobby, take it off for a second. I want to point out for those of you who are of a certain age, Lil Jon was that dude on The Apprentice with Trump. So for those of us who are of that age, you also, not only was he paying homage to Georgia, setting the stage for Georgia, but it was a slap in the face to the other team because Donald actually was setting Lil Jon up with things even after The Apprentice. So for him to come and perform, it's like, nah, dude. No. The other rappers, the other little rappers, a little something and little something, yeah, they can do that with him. But the one who really knows him, I don't got nothing to do with him. I thought that was it was something special to me.
No, 100%. I mean, just, you know, if just by comparison, and this is what I mean by like the little elements of the DNC that are uniquely different, is the roll call if you're a political nerd, and Joanne Reed pointed out how much she loves the roll call where every state does their little, presentation. It's
Right.
normally pretty dry, pretty mundane, kind of rolls by relatively quick. But this DNC decided to not only add that surprise guest element, but each state got its own spin with DJ Cassidy.
Yes, I love
playing,
that.
Playing a song from an artist from each state.
Right.
Which is, again, a unique element to remind you that this is about the culture, right? Like,
right.
This is bigger than, and we want to kind of, again, show the RNC, we're bigger than you. We're more considerate of you. We're thinking about things in a different way than you were willing to think about. So that was, and you can even tell the person doing the roll call, he got into it after about the 10th state. He's like, his elevation, his pitch got higher.
Yes, he got in it.
Yeah,
now you did have some.
Definitely stole the show, though.
You had some that were abstaining. Alabama. I don't think Alabama abstained. I think that they just didn't hear him when they called, because they went right back to them where they said, okay. But I do want to know, and even California did the same thing. But what happens when states are called and they don't respond? What are some of the reasons why they don't?
It could be technical reasons. I mean, you're talking about an arena with almost 20,000 people. And although there are people staged in the space to tell you, hey, your time's coming up, be ready. The delegations may have a designated spokesperson, might be the chair of the party, might be a prominent elected official from that state. So if that person's not in place, that might slow down the process as well. What also complicated this one, and I have to, acknowledge it, is you also had states who also had what were called uncommitted delegates. And so a lot of folks who may have watched it might have seen a state say, well, I have 60 votes, but I also have 3 votes that voted present. That is because they had actual members of their state delegation who just were not committed to the Democratic nominee. And that's not uncommon, but especially more unique to this convention because of the issues around Gaza and Israel and Palestine altogether. A lot of people are still, and rightfully so, upset at what's going on over there, and wanted to send some sort of message that they want the bombs to stop.
So this is not what this show is about, but because you're bringing it on, what does the United States have to do with that?
Well, I mean, we can definitely have a deeper conversation for another day, but right now, and I shouldn't say right now, the United States has been the primary supplier of weapons for the state of Israel since its inception in the late 1940s, but especially since the early 70s. They are a small state in the midst of what we call the Middle East. And so America's been their primary supplier of guns, ammunition, and bombs. And so what people are challenging the United States, and therefore the Biden administration, to do is to stop doing that until this genocide or the killing of these innocent Palestinians happens in that space. I mean, that is the conversation.
So to stop re-upping them on weapons and bullets, etc.
Exactly, because the thing is, if you keep supplying them, they're going to keep using them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And people are saying, well, we want to stop the killing.
And so what's the administration's stance as to why they won't stop?
I mean, they've been, and I'm not saying anything that's not unknown, but President Biden has been very, very, very supportive of the state of Israel his entire political career. And that wasn't going to stop, as he was president. But people are saying that in the face of, now 40,000 individuals, mostly women and children that have been killed in that conflict by these bombs that America's supplying, that America bears a responsibility for those killings. And so the challenge to the United States is, what are you going to do? Should it be diplomacy, negotiations? Is it a stop supplying or stop providing these weapons of mass destruction? And so they're calling on some sort of consequence for that. And of course, with the pending election of VP Harris, there are folks who want to send a message. And let's be clear, the reason they're trying to agitate Democrats is because, folks like Donald Trump have said that they want to wipe out Palestinians altogether, right? They want to just do away with those people as if they're insignificant. So it's a question of who can you negotiate with to get to where you need to get to.
Yes. Okay. So that, to me, that answers the question that I think others may have, because there is this sense of, I know during the summer, I don't have enough money to send my child to summer camp, and you all want me to be, they're just going to keep calling. They're just going to keep calling. They said, no, girl, you better come and answer this phone. Anyway, we're back on track. Day 2, Little John performed. He brought him out and everything. And then, we went to day 2, but we missed what you talked about earlier. Yes, Jasmine Crockett.
Yes, indeed, Jasmine Crockett. And she's definitely quick with it. I think her new thing now is the 3 V's. She called Trump like a vile something villain.
Yes. Yes.
And we know her 6 B's comment from earlier in the year.
Yes. Even though those of us who are 70s babies, we knew B stands for Bronco Benz BMW. B stands for Bronco Benz BMW base Bengals and a pair of bars.
Hey,
yeah, that's what we knew the B's to be. But yeah, Jasmine did her thing with the resume. I tell you, her wit is just
undefeated at this point.
Yes.
An amazing, Congresswoman, hasn't been there long, representing the great state of Texas, straight out of Dallas. And her personality, as in many things in Texas, is big.
It is big. And she is a handful. I love it. I'm glad that she and I are on the same team. That's all I'm going to say. I'm glad that we are on the same team and we are fighting for the same cause, because I would never want to come across that young lady in the wrong way.
That's it. Because she got time, and she got all the smoke for you if you need it.
Yes, and she's gonna do it real quick. Now, who the other person who I'm not really sure if everyone saw this coming, but former First Lady Michelle Obama, everybody's auntie.
100%.
Oh boy, she tore the house down. And you know what I loved about her? I believe, Bobby, you guys selected this picture. I want to say that was one of the times when everybody was cheering for her, and she was like, "Just stop it. I have something to say." And they would actually be quiet.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, she you know, the beauty of Michelle Obama is she's connected to politics, but she's never held office.
No.
So her comments aren't about apples to apples or apples to oranges comparisons. She's just like, listen, she invoked her mom who passed this year. And that, you know, that took me out from the very beginning. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And so that was, but then just to, you know, all the energy today is talking about how 2016, Michelle Obama was like, when they go low, we go high. They said 2024, Michelle Obama is F that.
Michelle said, who gonna tell him? Who gonna tell him?
We'll tell him he's trying to get one of them black jobs.
He's trying to get one of them black jobs. Who gonna tell him?
Listen, Michelle Obama post White House is Southside Chicago all day. She was in her element. She was in her city. She was talking to her people.
Yes, and she had time.
That's it. She had the braids in. I'm not here for it. Braids in, arms out. I'm gonna tell you about yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was here for every minute of it.
Man, I mean, she alone pulled the crowd in, and they were just at bated breath. What are you saying? What are you saying, Michelle?
Let me hang on your every word.
Yes. It was a great night. It was a great night. And then we closed with our former president, the 44th president of the United States, Barack Obama.
I thought Bobby was going to pull up the petty picture.
Are we talking about this one?
Yes.
The crowd went crazy.
Indeed. That was classic. And you know, because President Obama was so calculated, you knew that like he had practiced that. He was just gonna be like, when I hit him with this one, this gonna be the moment.
He is so, and so for those of you who didn't get to see it, in his speech, he was talking about the idiosyncrasies of Trump and the things that he liked and he's infatuated with. And one of the things that he mentioned was the crowd size, the size of the crowd. And he said that, and tell me if I'm doing it right, Dwight, that for some reason, Trump is just infatuated with the size. Wait, I can't get it.
He's like, with the crowd size.
with the crowd size. And everybody immediately knew not only was he saying it, but he was imitating him. Yeah. Go to YouTube, any social media platform. Look for Michelle saying that Trump was trying to get a black job. Look for Barack saying Trump's size, that he's infatuated with the size, the small size, the size of your audience. Jasmine Crockett with the resumes. Little John with the roll call. Warnock taking you to church.
Absolutely. Black excellence was on full display.
Wow.
These last 2 days. And I would also like to highlight, you know, because a lot of criticism of unfortunately, of Kamala Harris is around the fact that she is in a biracial relationship or a mixed race relationship. All I know is her husband held it down for her, 10 toes down for her.
Last night
in his speech, he was like, listen, I'm lucky to have her. He's like, you know, he even quipped, he's like, the only person who thinks Kamala's lucky to be with me is my mama. And I want to thank you, Mama, for being here today. It was very personable.
It was very endearing.
Yeah. And a lot of people, you know, they want to, for some reason, people get infatuated with trying to put Black women in a box of like, you're either too harsh, too loud, all these tropes about what Black women are. And what I appreciated about his speech in particular was it humanized their relationship. And I think for a number of people, regardless of your background, but I think for the culture in particular, there's often a critique of Black women who end up with white men or men of other races. And for him, he was just like, right place, right time.
Right.
Like I shot my shot. I was awkward, but she loves me anyway. So stay mad. And I was like, I felt it was that kind of energy. And I was like, that's right, bro. Like, here it is, this, amazingly successful Black woman, trying to do work in San Francisco. Like anybody else, you're out here just trying to find a partner in life.
Right.
And he got a hookup from a homeboy who gave the number. He said he left the voicemail message and that she recorded it and reminds him of it every anniversary.
Hilarious.
That is those kinds of things that is just like, got it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and be critical because a lot of people are like, well, she should have. Save it.
Yeah.
You're a woman of a certain age. We're talking about, and mind you, they're about to celebrate their 10th anniversary, which means they met when she was late 40s, late 40s, going on to 50. Save all the outside noise about what she coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah, because it didn't happen.
Right. She dated Black men. Y'all tried to give her grief for that, for the Black men she did date. And she marries a white man, all of a sudden, people still out here dissatisfied. And I'm just saying, let it go.
I loved another moment when he humanized her, when he was talking about how his kids interacted with her for their blended family. Absolutely. And they called her Mamala.
Yeah. And
when the camera went to one of his daughters, it was like she was crying.
Yeah. Because that's a human story, blended families. Think about it. For those of us of a certain age, we grew up watching the Brady Bunch.
Right.
Right. So,
story.
Lovely lady. That's it. So it's not uncommon when you just put it in the simple context of how humans interact.
Right.
And so that's what I appreciated, because it's like, and again, what I don't like is how vicious the attacks on especially Black women are when you have this expectation that a Black woman is supposed to be all these things in your mind. She's supposed to be loyal, but can't be too mad, but can't be too loud, but, can't be too smart, can't be too, it's like, and when you see a sister who's just, doing her thing, just, all right. And he just put it to bed. He didn't get up there trying to be defensive.
Right.
He didn't get up there trying to like be egotistical. He didn't get up there, trying to be like, I'm that guy. I'm the prize. He was just like, we're here for a celebration of my wife. And I want to let you know, I'm lucky. We're happy. We're good.
Look, she walked out the stage on day one. He was the first one standing up, pointing. Yeah. Like, boo, I see you.
That's it.
Look, and I called Roy when he was doing it. I was like, look at her husband. Look.
Indeed. So, looking forward to the next couple nights. For those who, again, have been watching, her acceptance speech will be Thursday night. Tonight is the acceptance speech by her running mate, Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota, who, again, seems like a decent dude. I think, especially, for guys, anybody who's met a old school white football coach from the 90s, he gives that energy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's a school teacher, which I love. And so looking forward to hearing this story. You're also going to hear from former President Clinton tonight. as well. So, be ready for some more surprises, because I have a feeling there's going to be a couple quotable moments that come out of tonight too.
There were some celebrities in the audience. I'm glad there were not as many as I was anticipating, and they adhered to her request for this not to be this celebrity event. I saw Don Cheadle. Did you see him? Eva Longoria. We mentioned Lil Jon. You had Common there. Anthony Hamilton. Spike.
Yep. Patti LaBelle was there last night saying, Anthony Anderson was there last night. Speaking of celebrities, and forgot one of my highlights from the first day was Steve Kerr, coach of the Golden State Warriors, who ended his speech by saying, "We're trying to put Donald Trump night," because that's what Steph Curry does whenever he ends a basketball game. And he said, words of Steph Curry, "We're just trying to put Donald Trump to bed." And I thought that was a phenomenal way of incorporating all that. Not to mention he played with Michael Jordan in Chicago, so it was a whole thing. So, whoever's been putting this together, they put some thought into this, and I appreciate it.
Yes, and the fact that he was one of those who was speaking, to me, really aligned with that support base for Trump, who are just your Joe Smo kind of guy who just loves sports and just is just not really too into anything.
Right.
I think that those are the people who Steve was able to connect with to reinforce Tim and his candidacy and why you should jump on board with the blue ticket. It was just a night. As the reporters said, it was a vibe.
Yeah.
It was a vibe. The culture was present. It was embraced. They said normal terms to describe it would be electrifying. And the lady was like, "No, it's a vibe in here."
That's it. Yeah. Let's be clear.
Yeah. So it was good. I'm excited to see what tomorrow holds. I'm sorry, tonight and tomorrow. I'm ready to see her speech, but I want to hear tonight. And then we still have a lot of work to do.
And again, and just to remind folks, it's 11 weeks. 11 weeks. It feels long, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put in perspective, all this stuff started happening, the third week in July, and we're already now going into the third week of August. So things happen very, very quickly. And so I just want to remind folks, as we start off the show, make a plan to vote. Look at your calendar. Think about what day you want to go, what days you have off. The beauty of early voting, especially here in Miami-Dade, is it's the same calendar that we just experienced, where you're going to have early mornings the first week, late evenings the next week. So if you know that you have time before going to work versus time after work, pick and choose. For those who are doing vote by mail, you should be receiving your vote by mail ballots in the next couple of weeks, and just be prepared to show up and show out. And a reminder, if you need to register to vote, you have until early October. So don't waste time not doing it. If you need to register, change of address, update your signature, all that stuff, you can do that today.
And we're going to have a forum on September the 30th. Political forum, meet the candidates at Second Baptist Church. We'll have more information in the upcoming weeks on who you can see. And this is for the local elections. No, I don't think VP Harris is going to come to Second Baptist. I mean, you never know. However, that's not who I was talking about. But put it on your plan to be there September 30th. Meet the candidates. And we'll be back. we'll come back. We'll come back with more. It's a lot to talk about. We appreciate you guys.
No doubt.
The Culture is produced and owned by Hip Rockstar Media and is distributed by the Culture Media Group. It cannot be reproduced or